Welcome back, focused learners. Okay, so today on The Explainer, we are unpacking something absolutely fascinating. We're looking at a piece of modern dance pop, specifically a track called Run Past Their Voices. Now, at first listen, you might just hear this incredibly infectious new disco beat with some really warm, confident vocals. But if we actually peel back the layers of these lyrics, we find a profound, tightly structured philosophy of self-actualization. This explainer is going to take you through a thematic hero's journey hidden right there in the verses, exploring how we break free from societal expectations to finally discover our most authentic selves. We absolutely have to start right at the beginning with this totally defiant opening lyric. They said, "Slow down. I smiled and tied my shoes." I just love this because it hooks us immediately, right? It sets up the core tension of the entire piece. There is this instant, palpable conflict between the restrictive, super cautious expectations of society, the they, and the empowering, almost playful personal defiance of the narrator. Notice how she doesn't argue, she doesn't try to convince them of anything, she literally just smiles, gears up, and gets ready to run.
Okay, let's dive into this and enter phase one of our thematic journey, defying the loudest limits.
So, before you can chart your own course, you first have to recognize the limits placed on you, essentially the cage you're currently living in. And the crucial point is right here in this line from the chorus. The loudest limits live inside their minds. You know, the constraints and the no's placed on us by society or our peers or authority figures, they are very rarely about our actual capabilities. They're almost always just projections of other people's fears and insecurities. By recognizing that these limits live in their minds, the singer completely strips away their power over her mind. Every no handed to her simply becomes another thing on her to-do list.
But as we all know, breaking out of those projected limits isn't some magical overnight process. It requires compounding, step-by-step effort. Just look at how this builds. One more sunrise, one more mountain, one more mile, one more breath. It's a relentless forward momentum. It's all about not accepting less, day by day, breath by breath, until you suddenly realize just how much bigger the world actually is once you leave that cage.
And that brings us to a pretty stark contrast between chasing external validation and discovering your own personal finish line. The lyrics make it incredibly clear. Chasing their finish line means living in a cage, basically just constantly waiting for the applause of others. But my finish line? That is entirely internal. It's defined by the silence you hear when the applause finally fades out, and that profound realization that you genuinely like the person looking back at you in the mirror.
Let's move on and see how this builds as we transition into phase two of our explainer, escaping to open space.
So, once those mental limits are totally shattered, the physical journey really kicks into gear. The songwriter uses these incredibly visceral, grounding experiences to illustrate this feeling of expansiveness. We're talking about the sweat on the shoulders, the ocean salt, the wind dancing through hair, and truly absorbing the unique heartbeat of every new country. This isn't just travel for the sake of taking pictures. It's a physical immersion in the world that allows those emotional boundaries to stretch. By leaving pieces of herself with strangers and in foreign lands, she's systematically dismantling the old restrictive version of who she used to be.
Now, what's really interesting here is this brilliant realization about the nature of peace itself. We are so conditioned to view peace as the reward at the very end of a long struggle, right? Like it's the gold medal we get when we finally stop running. But these lyrics flip that completely on its head. Peace isn't the finish line. It is the active, vibrating energy driving the journey. It is the very reason you are alive in the present moment.
And because of that internal peace, the physical exertion of the journey feels entirely different. Just look at the powerful logic of this lyric. Climbing higher mountains and walking longer roads requires massive physical effort, for sure. Yet, the singer tells us they carry lighter than the doubts I used to hold. It is such a beautiful way of explaining that the heaviest burdens we carry are rarely physical. The mental weight of self-doubt is far more crushing than any mountain.
Which brings us right into phase three, collecting sunsets over trophies.
Here, the journey of self-actualization moves past merely escaping bad environments and shifts into a proactive choice about what to actually value in life. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate choice we all face. On one path, you have a life dedicated to collecting trophies, which the lyrics ingeniously pair with collecting fear. Why? Because when you chase external status markers in someone else's dream, you are always terrified of losing them. On the other side, the singer chooses to collect sunsets, It's a total embrace of ephemeral, authentic, personal experiences. It's literally the difference between sleeping through someone else's life and waking up inside your own.
This shift in values completely redefines our understanding of resilience. Think about it. Society often defines strength by how loud you are, how aggressive you can be, or how fiercely you fight back. But the lyric offers this incredible redefinition. Strength isn't louder. It just stands when storms arrive. It is quiet. It is grounded. It's an unwavering presence in the face of adversity, rather than some noisy performance for the crowd.
Because when you have that quiet, grounded strength, you arrive at this triumphant moment of total self-acceptance. If they still wonder who I'll be, tell them I'm already me. This is it. This is the peak of the self-actualization journey. She is no longer in the process of becoming something just to satisfy the curiosity or the demands of others. She has fully arrived in her own identity. The search for approval is officially over.
Now we enter our final phase. Phase 4, finding your own map.
The final chorus serves as a total masterclass in this evolution, summarized by these 3 keys. First, every step is a new beginning, reminding us that reinvention is constant. Second, and I think this is absolutely beautiful, every scar becomes another wing. It's like psychological alchemy, taking past pain, the damage done by the cage, and transforming it into the very mechanism you use to fly. And finally, the ultimate reality check. The world is too wide to stay afraid. There is simply too much out there to let fear dictate your boundaries.
This leads to a really powerful core declaration of independence. I wasn't born to fit their frame. I was born to write my name. If there is one single thing you take away from this explainer today, let it be this declaration. True self-actualization requires stepping completely out of the prepackaged frames society offers you. You are not here to fill out a template. You are here to author your own existence.
And then, just as the song fades out, it hits us with this profound twist ending. We hear the voices of the critics one last time. They said, "You'll never see the world." And she replies, "They were right. I didn't. I saw my own." It's an absolutely brilliant reframing. She didn't see the world as they defined it, the conventional, expected path. Instead, she discovered her own internal universe. She built her own reality.
So what does this all mean for us? That's the most important part of this entire analysis, how it applies to you. When you look at your own goals, your own fears, and your own loudest limits, whose math are you actually following? Are you out there collecting trophies in someone else's dream, or are you waking up inside your own? Give that some deep thought today as you chart your own course. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you on the next explainer.